these. And I've got these. And I've got that. And what do they have to do with communication? Have I got your attention? Cool. I also have water in a beautiful little vase. Okay. So communication. We've often heard that communication is 90% nonverbal, and the rest of us is what coming out of our mouth. But that means it's just the tip of the tail of what actually is going on behind the scenes. So some of the stuff we understand naturally, and other things we learn through processes like NLP, Neuro-Linguistics Programming. Our body is sending out lots of signals. When someone's asking us a question or wanting something of us, have you ever witnessed their eyes glaze over? You know the feeling. Or they cross their arms to protect their vital organs. There's things happening. Are they moving into the conversation, or are they stepping back? So all of these unconscious signals are actually happening very quickly in the backside of the mind, in our unconscious mind, which operates 400,000 times faster than our cognition. So when somebody asks you a question, the wheels are turning deep inside your head. But today is more about, why are we miscommunicating? In everything we do, we need to converse with somebody else, whether it's a relationship, a work situation with our family, our teens, our babies. Everything is we're trying to find a common ground and actually share our experience. So we need to know what the inner game is. And when you're coming up against a brick wall, when someone's just not getting you, it might not be, you're thinking inside my head, they don't like me. But that is what we call a distortion in our thinking, because what information do we actually have that says they don't like you? They might just not be understanding you. So that's the whole key with communication. We start to set up barriers for ourselves. We start to form opinions that may or may not be true. We delete information, like who actually said that? Why do we believe that to be true? When we say things like, well, it always happens that way. She's just that way. Well, who says she's just that way? These are things that we're forming inside our mind, and therefore it's reflected in the next conversation that we're having with this person. So it's not so much about what we're saying, but what we're not saying. Are we moving into the conversation? Are we open? Are we receptive? Are we actually listening? Or are we thinking about responding? Or if our system is completely rejecting this person's reality? Because we are making decisions behind the scenes. If we look at a meta model, which is based in NLP, but it's a psychological tool that we use to understand people better so that we can move through the back door, kind of like bypassing resistance, and have a deeper conversation that matters and gets through. So we're going to talk about them. So one of the first things I'm going to show you once again, and you'll begin to know, hopefully my little things won't blow away in the wind today, if you are a matched person thinker or you're a mismatched person thinker. So if I was to say to you, you're communicating with someone and you're trying to describe these two items, would you say and describe them as being similar, or would you say and describe them as being different? Both of them hold water, both of them have rims, both of them have flat bottoms. They kind of are similar in size, but not really. This one you can see through, a little sippy cup, and this one is a mug. So are they the same to you, or are they different? Because right now you can illuminate, if if you're having trouble communicating with somebody. If somebody thinks these look the same and you think they look different, then you can understand why we miscommunicate. So here's another example. Are they the same or are they different? One is spongy and one is hard. They're both round, but one is a different size. One is green and one is pink. You can both throw them in the air. This one bounces and this one kind of doesn't bounce as well. But you can decide, are they the same or are they different? And again, you can play this game with your kids or with your teen or with your husband or wife or partner, friends, and find out how they perceive that. Because it's good to know. Why? Because if you're talking about things that are different and their mind processes in a different way that says things are similar. So for example, they might say, well, those two cars are very similar. And you're thinking, no, they're not. That's a Beamer and that's a Mercedes. And they're thinking, they're both sports cars. What's the difference? And you can see why we miscommunicate. So there are other ways that your mind thinks. So there's 8 processes. Let me just get that right, because are they the same or are they different? If I put up 10 fingers and I said, there's 8, then you'd know. Ha ha ha. So there's other processes that are different from the matched and mismatched. And one of them is towards and away. So if I'm dealing with somebody who is wanting to lose weight, for example, and they're a towards person, meaning that they're moving towards good health or they're moving towards a certain weight. They want to, they think that way. If I say to them, well, let's get away from thinking in that way. Let's communicate in a way that I'm wanting them to back away from ill health, back away from high blood pressure, back away from heart disease, which is fear-based, and they're actually moving towards something, they're going to completely reject my plan. So again, you need to know if they're a towards person or if they're moving away from something. Towards people is a more calm approach, where moving away from something, we often think of fear. So if someone has a serious illness and they're frightened, they will probably be moving away from that, away from discomfort rather than moving towards something that's more pleasant. So you need to know. And the other thing is really cool is if they're an internal person or they're an external person. And none of these things are right or wrong. You just got to know. If you want to communicate with that best friend or you're trying to get an inroad, if you're in sales, you got to know if the person is an internal person or an external person. An internal person doesn't need to have the pat on the back. They get satisfaction from doing a good job and knowing internally that they did a good job, and so I feel good about myself. They're usually a little bit more of an independent worker. They're not surrounded by people that can say, Dell, that was a great one. But you can see as soon as someone puts a little thumbs up across the screen, I'm going to go, oh, that made me feel good. So I am, even though I work alone, I like that external gratification. I like to have the pat on the back. It makes me feel good. But if you're working with somebody who's independent and you keep saying, good job, and they're probably thinking, I wish she would just be quiet about that. I am just fine. Or if you have a child that needs to have that pat on the back, that needs to say, hey, little Johnny, that was awesome. If they miss that, if you're not giving them what they need, they don't feel good about themselves because they need that within their psyche to feel good. The other one that's really cool is if you're a 1 times thinker or you're a 7 times thinker. One-time thinkers are, they hear it, they like it, they buy it. I saw it, I liked it, I bought it. Right? It's the instant, I'll get home and try it on later. They don't want to think about it. They just want to do it. They want to make and take action. They can be a little bit spontaneous. So sometimes that one-time thing is a leap of faith, but that's okay. That's the way their mind works. The other one is the 7 times thinker. So those are the people that say to you, thanks for the information, but I'm going to see what other people say. Who is that doctor? Have you ever used them before? I want to look it up online and see what's happening out there. Are other people using this, or is this a one-off thing? The 7 times thinker, they want to know the details. They want to hear it from a variety of sources. They want to read it in the paper. They want to hear it online. They want the social proof when it comes up, you know, on the news and with other people exploring it first. That's their comfort zone. So you can't ask your date to go to Rome if she's a 7 times thinker, because she's going to want to talk to a friend about it. She's going to want to look it up on a travel journal. She's going to want to read the recipes. What am I going to eat when I'm in Rome? 7 times thinker needs to have all the information. So you want to bring them a stack of information if you want to take them to Rome. And then there's general and specific thinker. So a general is your CEO, who just wants to oversee the plan, see the big picture, see where we're going, but don't bore me with the details. You ever been talking to somebody and you're a specific thinker and you say, well, this is what you have to do, and it's going to have to come in line on Tuesday, and then by Thursday this has to happen, and we're going to have to pull in Bob from this department, and he's going to have to do that. Don't give that information to a general thinker. They're going to glaze over. They're going to fall asleep at the wheel. A specific thinker is going to be doing the books, is going to be checking the checklist. They are going to know every cost, every time, every detail, every date, when it happened. These are the accountants. These are the people that have to check those boxes. They like that. Excuse me. And then we have either in time or through time. The in time people are very spontaneous. They're walking down the street, enjoying the day, not really thinking too far ahead. I'm just whistling the tune, and who cares what happens today? It's going to happen today, whether I do it or not. So that's the in-time person. Sometimes they can't really see what's going to happen tomorrow. They're a little bit more spontaneous, more in the moment. Where the through-time person, there's the people that say, well, I knew that was coming. I saw that coming long before it ever hit this pipe. So those are the through-time people. They can see the plan. They can see where it started way back there, all the things that came in the way to today, and what was going to happen tomorrow. That's the mom saying to her kid, who's in time, enjoying life. She's saying, well, I told you that was going to happen. But if they're an in-time person, you can't work with them that way. It doesn't work. Their mind doesn't work that way. They're in time. They're in the moment. So you got to know, if you want to communicate with your kid and they're in time, don't expect them to see the through time picture. So we start to see how all of these things are in play, even for what you put on this morning, even for what you made for breakfast, even for what you did at work today. All of these internal processes are happening deep inside your mind and creating the decisions for everything that you choose today. And the last and final one of the big 8 are independent or team players. So for example, I have a client that wants to come to me for losing weight. She's private. She doesn't want to get into a group session with other women and discuss her weight condition. She wants to be one-on-one with me, doing it on her own, and not sharing that. She's more independent. Where if you have a team player, these are the people that tell two friends, I'm going to go on a diet. You want to join me? They're the people that don't want to go alone. Come to the bathroom with me. Girls will understand that. You know, the guys are like, well, I'm going to the bathroom. And the girls are like, hey, I'm going to the bathroom. You want to come? So that's the difference, right? We're either independent or we're a team player. And you can start to see these comfort zones arise within a conversation. And it's like the back door. It's like going through the back door of someone's mind. When you know what their meta model is, you can speak their language. They think you get them. And you do. You have that inside door to the decision-making processes within their mind. You start to read the clues. Do they glaze over when you talk about being a team player? Or do they move into the conversation and say, let's phone Fred. I know he'd be totally into this. So you watch their expressions. You watch their body language. What are they doing? What are they saying in the things that they're not saying? And then there is the practical way of asking specific questions. As an NLP master practitioner, I do the meta model right at the beginning. I ask specific questions so I know if they're moving towards or away from good health. I know if they're a 1 time or a 7 times person. And if they're a 7 times person, I've got a rack of information that I'm just going to hand them a file folder and say, take this home and look it over. There's a few websites that you can check out. And then, let me know how you feel. But I know that you want to have that. And then if it's a general thinker, you don't want to tell them too much. You just want to give them an overview of the plan. And the details are left to me. I can spend my time working behind the scenes, giving my general thinker exactly what they want without too much of the detail. However, if they are a specific thinker, I'm going to have to lead them down the garden path. I'm going to have to tell them what happens today, what happens this afternoon, what they can expect this evening, and what the next plan is. They're going to want a step by step. So I need to know this information in order to work with somebody. Anyway, this is the funness of working with someone's back end. Oh, that didn't sound right. Working with the inner workings of the mind. How about that? So I give the analogy. I'm going to bring my little stand over. I'm going to put my cup there. And if I am communicating with somebody effectively, my conversation is going to funnel and filter right into their mind. But if I am miscommunicating, then I might as well be throwing water on the ground. It's not getting through. So when you think that you're having a conversation that's coming up against a brick wall, check your filter. Check to see where the information is going through into the glass and where it's not, where it's just splattering all over the ground and not doing something. And then you'll begin to see the pattern that has to happen in order to communicate effectively with them. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Adele Anderson from lifecoachadele.com, and I'm here for you. I'd love to have a conversation, so you can reach me on my website at lifecoachadele.com or call me 604-885-0562. And until we speak in person, I wish you a lovely day.